I've had plenty of times where eventually it's like, yes, I get it. And Snowball can be a very centralized character when I end up playing him in a group, which is why I have to actively try to stop. Alex, when I type in knockdown,
you get a reference to a Chumbawamba song.
I did. I always get knocked down, but I always get back up again. And once I got back up again, I went to DM Academy and looked that up. And I got this really... It's a long piece, so I will just link the whole thing down below.
Oh boy.
But I'll try to summarize it as best I can. It was called, from 5 years ago, mind you, a breakup letter to my players. And to synopsize for you, it is basically somebody who has been running a game for their players, who is starting to feel pretty worn down by the entire experience. One of the reasons why is sort of lack of communication, and that, they would send information, direct messaging their players throughout the week, with things like, hey, found this awesome list of tons of new spells for your class that sound pretty cool, let me know what you think. Here is a handout on the region, cover some of the questions you asked during the last session. No one reads it. No one looks at it, there's no feedback. So basically it kind of ends with, like, I am tired. So tired. I am beyond burnout now. I love D&D and want to create the best game I can given limited resources and experience. My players want to show up on Sunday, roll dice, and leave it all at the table. That is fine. I get it. Different wavelengths. Neither of us are wrong nor right, but I need that midweek juice to keep me motivated. I love D&D and my players. It may just be time to move on. Yours, the DM. And so I wanted to talk to you about, like, the idea of burnout and what happens to people that are running games and how maybe the relationship between them and the party is sort of important to keep that drive going, to make sure that everybody's involved with the table. So you've run games.
Yes.
I've even attempted to at one point. How exhausting is it to do?
I guess the real question is, how much prep work do you put into your game?
Right.
Because the more prep work you put into it, I guess the better it can be in a lot of cases, but it also leads to a lot faster, I think.
Sure.
I have adopted over the years kind of a low prep, kind of go with the flow attitude for it, which is fine as long as you kind of have an idea of what you're doing. But it's not great if you're trying to tell, like, a rich story.
Sure.
And so if you're trying to run a game as a story, like going back to Icespire Peak, I actually didn't do a lot of prep for that. I didn't really look ahead at what was going on and just kind of ran it as it was.
Sure.
So it was very low prep, but it also meant that you guys were experiencing things as I were finding them. You guys were experiencing things as I was finding them.
Yes.
It's the module. All the information's here. I should not have to do a lot of prep work.
Fair.
Which is why I was running it that way. Because this is prepped up. I don't have to do the prep work.
Yes.
It's here. Hindsight, probably would have made more sense to read some of that ahead. You guys would have been able to deal with the where-ats a little easier. Probably.
Sure.
Because I would have been like, oh.
Prepare for that. Yeah. No,
I'd be like, oh, there's nothing here to prepare you for this. Okay. That's unfair.
Yeah. It is an interesting idea, though, if you have a module and you have your dungeon master going into it blind along with the players.
Yeah.
That's I've seen a lot of times where people will use modules, but they'll kind of like look through the module at least just to kind of get an idea of what it is. But I actually kind of like the idea of being able to go in completely blind and then just kind of like wing it on the fly. So
that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Which is why I was able to go look at that and, knowing how to do a bit of improv. Stuff as well. I could go into that and be like, oh, you can use torches to hurt these guys or heat metal. I'll allow that. You guys did pretty well improvising too.
Sure.
But yeah, I think burnout for a DM, again, this person's communication was a big thing.
Sure.
If your players aren't willing to put in the same amount of effort into a game as they expect out of the DM, I think that's a big issue.
Yes, because you want your players to be as engaged with the work as the person who's running it.
Yes.
They don't have quite as much to keep track of, and it's good that they're trying to be trying to add stuff to the experience overall.
Like, as players, you should know what your character is capable of do or have an idea. You should be able to do your bookkeeping on your end for your items and your gold and stuff. I don't think that stuff should be on the DM.
Sure.
In the server. And again, even when you guys were playing that game with me, it was like, alright, here's the stuff. You guys keep track of the stuff you want to keep track of. I'm running the game. I shouldn't be doing all of it. And you guys were fine about it, you know?
Yes.
Like, here are the quest cards. You keep the quest card and remind you that you're on the quest.
When I was trying to run something, I felt like I needed to make it a very curated experience so that the players didn't have to think too much about it, but it's also incredibly time-consuming to do that.
Right, which is why if you're, again, wanting to do a ton of prep work ahead of time, that is fine. You are in your right to do that to make the game as interesting and as deep as you want.
Sure.
But I've also played with groups that are like, let's just kind of wing it. And
right.
I'm like, sure, we'll wing it. Here, tell me what you guys want to do, and I will let you guys play it.
Sure.
So if they want to come to the table with improv energy and want you to improv, or just want to play a game where they roll dice,
sure,
don't have to think about a lot, yeah, improv 100% works. Like, where do you guys want to go on the map? We want to go here. Alright, along the way, here's 3 random encounters, no story beats, and a monster at the end that like an encounter with a caravan or something.
Right.
You can do that. Those exist. People love, some people love running big open world games. You can just do that. It's very different vibes than running a game that requires thinking, knowledge, and story.
And if you're homebrewing something and building a world all of your own, that is definitely going to be much more time consuming, because you have to be able to be the keeper of all the lore and the information and all the characters in a way that a predisposed setting like the Forgotten Realms is going to provide for you. I have found, though, when I'm playing, that I feel like I do have a responsibility not just to be engaged for my character, but to also try to keep engaged for the other players as well. With a lot of my characters, I'll pick the times where I have an opportunity to be a spotlight, and then I'll usually kind of go back into the supporting role whenever anyone else is talking, to try and, just enhance what's going on for them, because even when it's not really my turn, I'm still in the game. The times where I have found myself tuning out, or at least just not paying active attention, is if I'm not directly in a scene, and it would probably be better for me not to actually be, actively engaged with something, that it's just probably better for me to just shut up, kind of like stay on the back and just like mind my own business off in the corner. Which is when I do usually just like, oh, maybe I should check what my stats are. I'll just look on my character sheet or whatever and just look at what other options.
Shut up, Bard. You're not part of this.
Yeah, we don't need to talk to the Rainbow Unicorn right now, so we're gonna just leave that to... I've had plenty of times where eventually it's like, yes, I get it, and Snowball can be a very centralized character when I end up playing him in a group. Which is why I have to actively try to stop. I've had several times where I played Snowball where I actively had to try to stop being Snowball and just shut up and just let other people do stuff so that I don't dominate the whole game. Which is fine. That's totally understandable. It's not just...
I feel at that point you should make it so Snowball's easily distracted.
It's not a canonical thing, but Snowball does have... I think we established at one point that he got distracted by a shiny object or something like that. So this does happen.
Real bad ADD.
Yeah, which makes him great for being a private detective. It's a great thing for detectives to be. It's
great. You get the hyper focus occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
ADHD, yeah, you get some of them get the really strong, easily distracted, but also easy. Get super hyper focused.
Absolutely. That also reminds me, just completely side note, I gotta look at getting a Deerstalker cap so that I can wear it when I'm playing Snowball, because that's what Snowball wears. I gotta get into character. Then I can put a fake unicorn horn on the Deerstalker cap, and I'll have my costume.
Grow one.
Yeah, I just have to get one of those. It's like the hair grow for men kit, but it's a unicorn horn grow kit.
Yeah.
We could. Oh, that's what you could rub, like the chia pet on that pebble, and we could grow a unicorn horn.
Hey, you know what? I just found out our goal for when we get 500 patrons.
Yeah, for 500 patrons.
For 500 patrons, keeping in mind we're at like 5. So when we hit 500 patrons, Nathan, you have to get a sparkle unicorn tattoo.
I gotta get a tattoo.
Yeah, real tattoo.
Oh, where am I getting this? Where am I getting?
You can
this?
Pick where it is, but you're gonna get rainbow unicorn tattoo.
Oh, well then, geez, this is.
I honestly suggest your ass cheek with it.
Well, let's face it, no one's ever gonna see it, so if I put out my ass cheek...
I mean, because at that point, it's like, oh yes, I've got a rainbow unicorn on my ass. And then, it's, if anyone does see it, it's gonna be a topic of conversation for you. I mean, I guess at that point, put it somewhere visible so it's a conversation starter.
I'm going shoulder blade.
Shoulder blade up here?
Yeah, I'm going back here if I'm getting something. It's going back. It's going there. But it will be very sparkly. I don't want to see it. I don't want to...
Just get a whole back piece.
Oh, I gotta get one of those Fable back pieces, but it's the whole back. Yeah, the whole back. And it can be like the unicorn, and it can be the galaxy unicorn, like Luck, and it can be prancing, so that it's more like vertical. And then the horn comes up toward my shoulder blade. That'd be great. Yeah. Small of the back. Patrons. Yeah, small of the back, maybe. We'll try that.
Stamp?
Yeah, exactly. No, tramp stamp's down here.
Oh.
I'm talking about like up here, between shoulder blades. Maybe there.
Spine? Ouch.
You're going...
Anyways, yeah. So if you want Nathan to get a sparkle unicorn tattoo...
500 patrons.
I'm a patron.
I have to get a
400 of your friends to become...
It will be the first of first tattoos, and only one that I ever get. So, there's something.
We'll get some. We'll make some TPK temporary tattoos someday.
We'll make some TPK temporary. If I get one, then we can just model the temporary tattoos off of the one that I have. There you go. That'll be fun. I love the idea of this late in my waning years getting one freaking tattoo, and it's a.
It's not.
And
listen,
it's a
you can get tattoos
rainbow.
your entire life, Nathan.
You can.
I need more.
You have enough for both of us.
I don't have enough for me, so I don't have enough for both.
Oh, sorry. We are easily getting distracted too, because apparently that's the thing. To loop back before we finish up, the fact of the matter is that, being a DM can be very time consuming, and I understand where this dungeon master is coming from when they are talking about feeling that burnout or just a lack of respect, because there is a point in this where they're saying a player's responsibility is less clear, but I believe it boils down to one singular point: respect. That seems to be a big thing.
And it doesn't have to be like respect you as a person necessarily. Yes, you should do that anyways, but respect the time.
Yes. Respect the time and the investment and the game and the people that are playing it and the people that are running it. And also something that was mentioned in here was that a lot of times, like mid-combat, the players are not even bothering to hide that they're looking at their phones. Which is, again, one of those things where investing into something, being there. I get that you want to just roll dice on Sundays. That's understandable, but it is something.
You just want to roll dice. You can go play craps or Yahtzee.
go to the casino and...
I feel at this point it's just pull a Monopoly. Like, you guys want to roll dice and not think? Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Go play some penny slots. You can just do that all night. I don't know what happened to the person that did this, or if they kept going, because this was 5 years ago, and I don't see any like edits or follow-ups or anything like that. Hopefully, though, if maybe it was just the wrong group, maybe there could be another group that you get into and you could try it again, or you get the opportunity to play and you know what you expect from your players, and so you know what's expected for you as a player too. It's been many years since I did this either, and I never went back to it, so I never ran a game after that, so nor did anyone want me to. So it's the way of things. One of these days, I did threaten to at one point run a Kids on Bikes game because I did get that. I just don't know what kind of scenario I want to run for Kids on Bikes. I kind of want to do like a Stranger Things thing, but yeah.
So what you do for that, find the group and then ask them what they would like.
That's true. I think I did get like Strange Adventures 1 or something like that, so that but I think a lot of those are more of like the small town Stranger Things-y kind of setting, which might work for some people and might not, I don't know. But that's one of those interesting systems, though. If people don't know about Kids on Bikes, it's kind of like a rules light system. That's more about storytelling devices than anything else, but it is basically the general concept is that you're in a small town at some point in time, and some freaky things happen that are kind of paranormal, and that's kind of the basic, idea of the game. And then you have certain tropes that you fall into instead of like archetypes or character classes. You're a type of person, which is kind of interesting in itself. I guess the question that I would have for people that are still listening to the show after the whole unicorn tattoo part would be, like, what has your experience been as a DM, and have you ever felt burned out by the experience? Did you have any remedies for it? How did you get through it, or did you get through it? Did you throw your hands up? Did you stop? Did you keep going? And what did you do to make that happen? Because I kind of know our experiences, but I think the last time Alex did a game was probably when we were doing it.
Yep.
And then
before that, it had been several years.
It had been several years, and it had been several years since you had even played. If I remember correctly.
I haven't played since I played.
Yeah.
Although I did. Here's just a final thing. Was I did at one point Death Watch campaign, which is their Fantasy Flight Warhammer 40k, but that one was the setup was going to be over something like Discord or Facebook or something like that. And so it's going to have my players and be like, hey, make your characters, and we're going to use this as like a staging ground, this group. So all the mission briefings, all the loadouts, you do everything here before the game.
Oh, okay.
If you need information, like it was going to be mission-based scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the prep work is going to go on outside of the game.
Sure.
Like you want to change out a loadout, do it here. You want to check mission briefings, get information. It's all going to be in here, in this format for you to look at and change and ask questions before the game.
Right.
It's kind of like a hub.
Yeah.
Because let's say the premise would be like you're on your strike cruiser and you're going to go on a mission. And do all your prep work, and then the day we actually game is the day you drop down and do your mission.
Oh, gotcha.
And so the idea was going to be that you do all that, you have all that prep work ahead of time, and I have like, here's the map that you're going to be using, because it's going to be mission-based, individual maps. Mm-hmm. Like, here's the map, here's your objective locations marked out on the map. I was going to just use like Google satellite images for maps.
Sure.
Why the hell not?
Yeah.
And it was going to be, here's this primary objective, secondary, like kind of like Helldivers style, where it shows you that. This is before Helldivers 2 came. So it was going to be like, pick your insertion point, and I was going to have like their map, and then what I had planned in each area.
Got it. Okay.
Never actually got around to doing it, but I figured that was a way that could be offloading some of the prep work onto players instead of doing things that are time consuming and not necessarily as fun during the game day, and letting those be done throughout the week when players had time.
Sure.
And then the game day would just be in-game playing the game, rolling dice, essentially.
Got it. So. Yeah, that would be good. Just give your players assignments.
Yeah, I mean, GM does prep anyways.
Yeah,
it's kind of like assignments. So, like at this point, for that, it would have been like, again, here's the mission briefing. Here's what you can expect for the mission to prep for it. Here's the intel you have.
Yeah.
Make your adjustments now for what you expect to happen, and then we'll play then.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you can think about it throughout the week. Figure it out, plan ahead, talk with your friends, make a plan if you want to. I think it was going to be fun. Never got around to actually playing a game.
Right. But still. Well, one of these days, right? It's always one of these days.
Well, I have the Wrath and Glory system, so it could still happen.
Could still happen. You never know. It won't. But it was... it's nice to think about. But let us know about how you got over the burnout and the tiredness, or if you succumbed to it, in the comments down below.